Josh, thank you. We've been talking all morning about Flood Preparedness Week, and now we are back in Studio B. I'm joined by Georgiana Armstrong, the Emergency Services Manager with Kern County Fire. Thanks for coming in this morning.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. So we're here to talk today a little bit about Flood Preparedness Week here in Kern County. I think one of the big questions is, we don't get much rain here, but there is still flooding, of course. So tell us about the prevalence of being prepared here in Kern County.
Well, there are different types of flooding. There is the natural plain flooding, which happens in certain areas of the county, and most likely Lamont, Arvin area, places like that. But there's also flash flooding, and this can happen particularly in our mountain areas with a particularly high risk after a burn. So if people live downhill of a burn scar area, they should be aware.
Right. And you were saying earlier, too, there's differences between being aware and being prepared, both very important, though.
Being aware is kind of the first step,
right,
because then you know what your risk is. Being prepared is being ready to take action when needed. And that is pre-identifying routes that you would take, having a communications plan in place, and having the mental click, I'm going to go when I need to go.
Right.
And then taking action as needed.
So how would someone go about becoming prepared? If they don't have any readiness available, what would be the first step that you would recommend they take?
Well, the first step, you can always get more information at FEMA.gov or ready.gov. But having a supply kit that you would take of disaster supplies, having your emergency notification list, who you're going to call, and knowing where you're going to go, when you're going to go. We would also recommend registering for ReadyKern at readykern.com, and that's to get emergency notifications from the county.
And that's not so much in a flash flood situation. So how would you prepare for something that can happen within moments?
That's basically being aware of your risk,
right,
and monitoring conditions as they're ongoing. Perhaps even monitoring the national weather the weather radios from the National Weather Service, because in a flash flood event you really don't have much time. The important thing in those situations is knowing what to do during an event. Do not drive on ground if you can't see the water. A foot of water can sweep away a car. 6 inches of moving water can sweep away a person. So turn around, don't drown is very important during a flood event.
The theme of this year's Flood Preparedness Week is be aware, be prepared, take action. Can you just tell us a little bit about that? What is all encompassing there?
Well, it's kind of the whole package. It's knowing what your risks are, getting prepared for what you would do if you had to do it, and then having the trigger that you will do what's being asked of you. If you ever get a notification to evacuate, do so immediately, move to higher ground, don't second guess it. These things can be very fast moving events. And flood events are very dangerous events too.
Right. A lot of information here for Flood Preparedness Week. Where can people go if they want to see a synopsis of all of this?
They can go to the California Water Services Department, who is basically the lead in Flood Awareness Week in California this week. FEMA.gov, ready.gov, all have very good information.
All right, Georgiana, thank you so much for joining us this morning. We're going to send it back to Josh Sanders for a quick check of what's going on outside. Josh?